Good evening. Welcome to the State of Business on our television with me, Kavish Kaperera. Let's take a look at today's headlines. President urges all to not use current situation for petty political agendas. We will not allow terrorists to divide the nation, says President during visit to Kalmuni. News in detail. President Maithripala says certain statements made by several individuals to achieve petty political gain have become a hindrance to the process of building national reconciliation. The president made these remarks during a meeting held with the representatives of the Muslim civil organizations, including the All Ceylon Jamiatul Ulama at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. During this meeting, President Sirisena said that the responsibility of all patriotic citizens should be to fulfill their respective responsibilities towards creating a peaceful environment and not to raise their voices in order to get narrow political gain. The president further said that even though criticism is necessary, criticism should be fair and unprejudiced. The representatives of the civil Muslim organizations stated that they would not consider the brutal terrorists who involved in killing innocent people as Muslims and that they condemn extremism and terrorism. Azad Zali, the Western Province Governor, Member of Parliament Faisal Mustafa, Secretary to the President Udayar Seniviratna and Acting IGP C.D. Vikramaratna, along with representatives from over 40 Muslim organizations, were among the participants. President Maithripala Sirisena insists that terrorists will not be allowed to divide Sri Lanka. President Sirisena made this observation when he met with the state officials and Muslim youth of the Eastern Province while on a tour of the Saindamaru area in Kalmune yesterday. The president requested people not to contribute to terrorist activities and to unite to strengthen national unity and reconciliation. He also said that everyone should dedicate themselves to strengthening national unity and reconciliation. The president thanked the security forces and government officials for their commitment to the motherland when carrying out security operations after the unfortunate incidents on April 21st. Minister Daya Gamage, Member of Parliament Angajan Ramanathan and provincial public representatives, Defence Secretary General Shanta Kotegoda, Army Commander Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake, Acting IGP C.D. Vikramaratna, Eastern Commander Major General Aruna Jayasekara, heads of security forces, Eastern Provincial Council heads and government officials were also present at this meeting. President Maithripala Sirisena went on an observation visit yesterday to the Zion Church, which suffered heavy damages due to the terrorist explosion that took place on 21st April. President Sirisena instructed the Eastern Commander-in-Chief and the security forces to take the immediate steps to reconstruct the church. He also expressed his deepest condolences to the head priest and other priests regarding the tragic attack. Minister Daya Gamage, Eastern Province Governor MLA Hizbullah, Member of Parliament Angajan Ramanathan and heads of tribe forces joined with the President at his visit. In an exclusive interview with our television on Biz Talk, Director of the MGF Group, Malik J. Fernando, elaborated upon an initiative to ensure correct information is disseminated to foreign travelers and travel agents to assure them that Sri Lanka is safe to travel to.
A group of us got together and we said, look, we're going to take charge in terms of the communication. So we are starting an initiative which is led by the private sector where we are developing a portal and we will try and agglomerate all the relevant news about Sri Lanka being safe to travel, news updates, security updates and so on, and feed that through to the international travel trade in cooperation with the entire travel industry in Sri Lanka who share my frustration. We have a very small unit with 3 luxury hotels. There are others who've got much bigger investments. And they're all equally frustrated that the proper messaging isn't happening. That is the fundamental key to recovery after terrorist attack. Whether it takes 3 months or 3 years depends on that. Here we've got such potentially great messaging that can reassure people, but that is not getting out. So we've decided to get together and fix it.
Malik Fernando also expressed the following on what is important to convey to foreign travelers in terms of safety.
People have to feel quite safe to travel because terrorism, they know, can be a hit and run. It can hit you randomly anywhere. But they need to feel safe. They need to feel that the intelligence of potential threats, because that's the primary tool, not so much boots on the ground and military at all the key locations, which right now is reassuring, but that can't continue forever. The fundamental thing is there's going to be very good intelligence, and for the reason I explained before, there's lots of intelligence that comes from within the community itself. That's the primary thing. Things like visas and discounts, I mean, visas were not expensive in the first place, and it was never a deterrent. The e-visa works very easy online, so that was maybe a little tactical thing in the off season, but it's really about building confidence, people feeling safe, and also making it a lot more seamless.
Fernando also stressed upon the importance of streamlining processes at the Bandaranaike International Airport.
The current chaos at the airport isn't helpful at all. I mean, that should have been fixed day one, but typically from my past experience, no one knows whose responsibility it is. The departure lineups where cars that are going to drop people off as well as pick up are all in the same queue, whereas cars that are going to drop off should obviously have a priority because the departure vehicles can come earlier. Also on arrival, I arrived a few days ago, and then to wheel your bag in rain out onto a main road where vehicles have no room to park. So they've gone overboard on security because they are in that area. It wasn't intelligent security in my view, because there could have been a holding area where you get picked up in the car park or something. So those things which can be friction, the arriving, departing experience, that needs to get fixed. But primarily it's about clear communication, realistically, of how the situation here is.
Stay tuned for more news after this short commercial break. Welcome back. China has made a cash donation for the treatment of the injured in the Easter Sunday bomb attacks in Sri Lanka. On 4th May 2019, Cheng Xuan, the ambassador of China to Sri Lanka, presented a cheque for 17.84 million rupees to Nimal Kumar, National Secretary of the Sri Lanka Red Cross Society, on behalf of the Red Cross Society of China. The donation will be specifically used in the treatment of the injured in the Easter Sunday attacks. Ambassador Cheng reaffirmed that at the time of sorrow, Chinese government and people stand firmly with the Sri Lankan people and resolutely support Sri Lanka in safeguarding its national security and stability and building a peaceful and prosperous country. The Chinese government is intensively negotiating with the Sri Lankan side and will provide all necessary assistance within its capacity according to the urgent requests extended by Sri Lanka. Now let's take a look at several cabinet decisions that were granted approval on Tuesday. Cabinet has approved the proposal presented by President Maithripala Sirisena to immediately implement the recommendations furnished by the Committee of Experts for Reconstructing Sri Lankan Airlines. The proposal presented by President Sirisena to establish a national innovation agency under a parliamentary act to adopt Sri Lanka's Innovation and Enterprise Strategies 2018 to 2022 as the guideline and plan was also approved by the Cabinet of Ministers. Cabinet approval was also granted to the proposal presented by Minister of Plantation Industries Navin Dissanayake to enter into a MOU drafted on tropical agriculture development and cooperation for value addition of plantation crops between Sri Lanka and the Hainan province of China. Speaking exclusively to our television on BizTalk, Chairman of the ICT Industry Skills Council, Chintak Vijay Vikrama, elaborated the following upon the role of the council.
Skills Council of Sri Lanka was set up mainly to work with NITA and TVEC. So those, as you know, are working with the students from basically taking the vocational sector. So the Skill Council is mainly an advisory body where it will want to look at the industry and it will work with the industry, where it will talk to the industry experts and will find how to make more people employable.
Vijay Vikrama further elaborated upon the composition and role of the ICT Skills Council.
We come from all the different sectors. So we represent hardware, we represent the software, we represent training, we represent the communication sector, the professionals. So, and the beauty of this Skill Council is, if you look at in Sri Lanka, there is the Federation of IT, then there is the Computer Society, then there is the SLASCOM, BCS. So all these industry people are part of our body, and we are also working with NITA and TVEC and the Digital Ministry, all the relevant ministries and ICTA. So all of them are board directors in the Skill Council. So I would say this is the only place where all working hand in hand, and we are trying to develop this sector.
Speaking further, Chintaka Vijay Vikrama expressed the following regarding the potential of the ICT industry.
Why ICT? Because there is so much of ICT opportunities in Sri Lanka and outside. So we have a two-pronged approach. The first is that we work with making programmers, or what they need for companies like who are being represented by with Slascom, where software developed for export. But that is not the only area that we look at. We also look at from another angle, that is as an IT user. In today's world, one of the qualifications to land a job is ICT. So there is a lot of careers based on ICT as ICT users. So that's the other scope that we try to address. So if you address both these, I think there is a very much demand for students from IT.
Keep tuning in for stock updates after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The All-Share Price Index dropped 20.77 points to close at 5,352.20. The turnover was 228.7 million rupees and 22.7 million shares were traded. Next up is Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap of the bulletin for the day. Signing off with a promise for tomorrow at the same time with nothing but the latest. Thank you and good night.